Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Torie, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. And with friends like this, who needs enemies? That's right, we are diving into little Reddit stories where friends turned out to be the worst. They did horrible things, weren't a fan of them, and just like overall shocking behavior. So I thought it would be fun to do that little frenemy action. And I think that we've all had a friend who has done something kind of outrageous, hurt our feelings, and we're no longer friends with them. So yeah, before I jump in, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow, all of the fun things. Don't forget to leave a rating and review. Everything is free, takes about 0.2 seconds, blows up the channel, and allows me to have a little bit more time to do more content. You know, I love interacting with you guys, engaging with you, all of the fun things. So yeah, anything means the absolute world to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm Grace Torie, and you're listening to That Girl, the podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. So I found this thread on Ask Reddit that I thought I would start out with, and it poses the question, what is the worst way a friend has shown you they weren't really your friend? So let's start off with the first very relatable comment. Ghosted me after 20 plus years of friendship. He was my best friend for as long as I can remember, but at some point he just stopped saying yes when I suggested getting together. We could have a conversation about anything, but the second I brought up doing something, it was radio silence. That is a little bizarre. Usually it's like straight up ghosting, but the fact that it was only about hanging out is a little weird. He finally agreed to do something, then blew me off like an hour beforehand. No rain check or suggestion, we try again. I was depressed for days, but then that was the day I gave up. He was the best man at my wedding. I loved him like a brother and still hope he's doing well and happy. But the rejection hurt so much that I don't try anymore. I've mourned the death of our relationship and I'm done with it. I still don't know why. I think that, yeah, this is something we've all had where you lost a friend and you don't know why. Like, they just stopped texting you. They stopped being friends with you. I've had friends where this has happened and they've gone as far as to, like, speaking ill of me to our entire friend group, and then they all stopped talking to me, and it's like, not knowing what I did or like that I even had a chance to defend myself is one of the most hurtful things, because it's like, if you have the conversation and you have that closure, you can move on, but if you don't, it's like you can't grieve something that you don't really know how it died, if that makes sense. Or like, I guess you can, but it's almost like the door isn't closed in your mind. Like, your mind mentally can't close the door. So it's really, really hard, and I think that ghosting someone or not giving an explanation is one of the most cruel ways to do it, because you don't know what happened. Like, it's just like, that's it, and it didn't even fizzle out. I mean, his kind of did, but like, a lot of times it doesn't. It's just like they straight up don't stop talking to you anymore. Being the best man at your wedding is also really hard, and that's one of the reasons I've kind of waited to get married, because the people in my wedding, I want them to be a part of my life for a long time. Like, I want these people to be the people that I'm with, you know, our kids hang out, and then their kids hang out, and it's like, obviously you can't predict the future, but I want to be in a part of our life where we're all settled down and a little bit more stable, so that there's more of a likelihood of that. And if anybody's going to kind of jump ship from the friend group, it's like they do it now. Not, like I said, you can't predict the future, but that is one reason why. But either way, that sucks, and I apologize for that. It's just, that's one of the worst friendships to lose. I had 12 hours before I deployed to Afghanistan. I lived about 6 hours from my point of departure, airport from which I would fly into theater, and my friend / ex-girlfriend had committed to driving me on that day. Packed, dressed, goodbye said, I take an Uber to her house with all my gear and baggage ready to go. I knock on the door and she answers in a robe. I ask her if she was about ready, and she proceeds to tell me that she forgot after we had talked 2 days prior, and that she really wasn't feeling like driving that distance. Utterly shocked and confused, I explained to her that if I miss my flight, it's considered a failure to report for duty, and I could be considered a deserter or AWOL, which, if you don't know, that is a very, very big deal in the military. Like, very big deal, not casual at all, not easily cleaned up, a big deal. Heavy consequences for it either way. She told me to figure it out and close the door. Okay. At that point, I had no idea what to do, so I called my first sergeant. We worked in a very remote location. He was the closest person to me at that point. That man drove the 3 hours from his home to get me, and then the other 6 hours to the airport. bought me dinner and got me tipsy before I had to get on my flight. I had the stunning realization that day that you really can't trust anyone, but I gained a lifelong friend as a result. We still talk regularly till this day. That's crazy. I mean, like, I'm glad that he was able to pull through for you, the first sergeant, because that is insane. And that's like 9 hours is not an easy feat. And then he also had to drive back. So that is, yeah, that's a lot. And I think that it's good that, like, he also understands the importance of it, because people either do or they don't. Not that that's an excuse, like, obviously not. She should have done it, but she clearly doesn't have an understanding, or she's just a horrible, horrible person and doesn't care. Either way, wrong, not a fan of her. She is a very selfish person. Yeah, I definitely would never talk to her again, because she almost not only, like, ruined your career, but ruined your entire life. And we don't love that. We don't love that for you. When I was in college, a close friend from high school called me in a panic saying his girlfriend was just discharged from the hospital and he needed to go take care of her. When I say close, I mean every weekend together, called each other's mom's mom. We had a really tight, small circle of friends, so of course I want to help. I had spent all day at school and all night working dinner at a restaurant, but in an emergency like that, sure, I got you. I love that. Same. I love, like, the loyalty is what makes the friendship so reliable, and if you aren't able to drop anything, being able to help facilitate someone who can, like, that's what makes the difference. I drove 40 minutes to get him, then an hour to her house. He's trying not to panic the whole way. When we pull up, the bedridden girl who needed round-the-clock assistance was sitting on the curb smoking a cigarette, then bounces up and says, "Give me a hug, effer." I very loudly and aggressively made it clear what a piece of S he was for lying about this. I made sure he knew that he traded our friendship for a ride to his girlfriend's house. Then I drove the hour home, and except for acknowledging him at his brother's wedding, haven't spoken to him since. Yeah, I mean, that's something that we could maybe talk out, like, eventually. Like, you just need some time to cool off, and then you could maybe talk about it. But I think that he would definitely, I mean, I feel like this is a relationship that probably won't last forever. Maybe it will, though. And then when they break up, you could just laugh about it and then be like, that was a horrible thing to do. And he'd be like, yeah, it was horrible. And then you move on. Like, this is a situation I think that you could eventually get over if you chose to. But him not being honest with you and lying about saying she's, like, in the hospital with emergency, that's crazy. Like, to lie so easily about that is concerning. Like, that's not something you joke about, lie about, you know. But yeah, I think that this is something where if you were as close as you thought you were, he could have just said, hey, can you give me a ride? And then you said no. But the fact that it was all a lie, that's the problem here. But yeah, I don't think this is something where the relationship would be completely over. And I think that you could eventually talk it out if he ever matured. But it doesn't seem like you want to, and I don't think I would want to either. I'm very quick to cut ties in situations like this. I gave her a birthday present, and she just said she didn't like it, and I found it in the trash when I visited. She always would be late to everything. She got tickets to an Incubus concert and a meet and greet. It wasn't in our city, so I saved all my money to be able to afford the trip, and a week before, she texted me saying she was going to Disneyland, so she sold the tickets. Oh, that would have gotten me. Like, she didn't even offer them to you? Crazy. I bet you she sold the tickets to fund her trip to Disneyland, and that's why she didn't tell you. Still horrible, though. I painted a whole big, beautiful mural in her room, and 2 months later, she just painted over it with purple because she got bored. Absolutely not. This is someone who has no self-awareness or no understanding that other people have, like, time. Other people aren't just, like, in the simulation as, like, little characters for her to, like, play with. Like, people have lives, and they're giving their time, and this is crazy. Invited me for coffee, and I got really excited because I hadn't seen her for a while and had a lot going on. I was almost homeless at the time, so I took the little money I had to pay for my coffee. I got there, and it was an MLM with like 6 other people. Yep, all 6 people were just as disappointed as I was. Then she did it again. I don't know why I thought it would be different. That's the last time I saw her. Yeah, you should have cut ties with her a long time ago. Like, probably when you found the birthday present in the trash. Like, the first thing that happened. That would be when I would have been like, we're done here. Or I would have sat her down and been like, do you hate me? This is so disrespectful. Like, what is going on? I am the type of person who, if I care about you, I will sit you down and be like, bro, what is going on? Are you okay? Is there anything I can help you with? Do you have a fever? Because what the heck? But yeah, that's too much. When I was a kid, I had a friend who was poor as heck. My family didn't have much either, but this was worse off. I used to give him things now and then, toys and whatnot. When I was 10, my mom passed away. I'm so sorry to hear that. Some months later, I was at my friend's house, and he showed me a cassette tape that I'd given him and then played it. It had my mom's voice on it. For some reason, I had recorded a conversation with her. I thanked my friend for the tape, and he asked what I meant. I told him thanks for giving it back. He said that no, I gave it to him, and it was his. Then to show it was his, oh no, he took it out of the tape deck, pulled the tape from the cassette, and snapped it. Oh my god. We were kids, sure, but that was one of the worst things that someone has ever done to me. That kid is actually the devil. That is horrible. I mean, even if you were a kid, I feel like you should have empathy. Insane thought that you should be compassionate and have empathy and be kind even if you're a child. Like, you know right from wrong. That's horrible. Like, that makes me sick to my stomach just thinking about it. The horrible first impression my at-the-time best friend had on my at-the-time new girlfriend, who is now years later my wife. We all went out to dinner, and my wife is shy and quiet while my friends are loud and rowdy. My friend's cousin kept messing with her and being obnoxious despite her very much telling him to stop. At one point, he made an inappropriate comment on her boobs, and it got to the point where she ended up crying and walking out of the restaurant. That's horrible. And first off, why would you ever comment on a woman's appearance? Why would you bring up someone's boobs? I followed her out, and then my friend, who had been in the bathroom at the time, called me to ask what happened. I told him his cousin was being a mean person, and his response was that my girlfriend was being a female dog, that they were trying to get her to talk more, but she was quote-unquote giving them the cold shoulder and wasn't welcome to their outings anymore. What if she had, like, some sort of, like, social anxiety? Maybe she had some sort of, like, mental disorder or physical something where, like, you don't easily talk to people. Maybe she has trauma. Like, there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't talk to anyone. And to say she's not allowed to come because she's shy, like, I don't talk very much when Josh is with his friends, and it's not anything wrong. It's just that now I do, but it took like a year of me being around them to start talking because I'm just very quiet until I get to know you. So I feel like that's common, especially if like you're, I don't know, when Josh is with his friends, it's like he's with his friends. Like, I'm tagging along, and I'm fine to be the third wheel because he doesn't see his friends all the time. He sees me all the time. So I don't get it. He went on to apologize later on, but was having problems with alcoholism, and we drifted our separate ways before long. I mean, I think that the fact that he yelled at you anyway, just shows, like, a difference in, I don't know, like, I get that his loyalty is to the friend group and your loyalty is to your girlfriend, as it should be, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have morals. I drive 6 hours one way, twice in the span of a year, to visit someone because I thought we were friends, and he acted like we were. Ooh. It cost me $300 each time to visit him, but he was alone in his new city. He moved away for his first job post-university, and kept messaging me saying I should come visit, da-da-da-da-da. Later, I find out this guy has come back to my town multiple times and didn't hit me up once, and he stayed for months at a time. Then sorry, that just, like, processed. That sucks. Then I told him about this, and he says, okay, he'll visit next time he's back in town. So the next time comes around, and he stops by, literally right before he's about to drive home, to say hi for 5 minutes. Like, dude, you don't want to see me? Why are you just going to throw all this BS and make me waste my money? It sounds like when you're going to see him, there's really none of his friends there, so you're higher up on his list of priorities, but when he comes home, you're not very high on his list of priorities because he considers other people to be better friends in his eyes, even though, like, maybe they're not. Like, obviously, maybe they haven't gone to see him, maybe they aren't very good friends, but whether it's, like, social standing or whatever the reason may be, it sounds like they're just more important to him. I hate to say it. I will say that this has happened to me, and I have a lot of people's locations, just from, like, college. Like, everybody had everybody's location in college, whether it was high school friends that came up or we were still close, and, like, it's like we would text each other and be like, I'm going out to the bars, can you just check on my location if you're up? Like, you know, just, like, normal things. And it's like we all graduated, but a lot of us still have each other's locations. And I have had people lie to my face, whether it was, like, someone I was dating and they were like, no, I'm actually not in town, and they were. We didn't move any further. Thank God, because I got my Joshy poo now. Whether it was a friendship where they were like, yeah, no, I haven't been able to see you, and you know that they've been in town, but they were here, like, for one night stands or, like, Tinder dates or something. I've been there, and it sucks. Thank you, technology, for that. Especially if they, like, post on their story. Like, bro, please. They called me up and invited me over to play a game with them and their friends. At the time, I had only barely started driving, but I decided, yeah, that sounds like fun, so I went over to play. When I arrived, I found out that they had volunteered me to this, but she trapped me because I had already agreed to come play, quote-unquote, with her friends. I was pretty annoyed by this, but I went ahead and drove to 3 places, picking everyone up. Oh, you're the driver too? Crazy. And no one was really ready to go when I arrived, and one of them also needed me to drop them back on campus to drop off their school assignment. So we're running errands too. I hope you got paid for gas or something as the Uber. By the time all was said and done, it was really late, and I needed to get back home because I had to get up in the morning to go to work. None of them even said thank you. Not one. The friendship didn't really last much longer after that. Yeah, it sounded like you're just the friend who had the car and maybe gas money. Like, they were like, this person seems like they have enough money for gas. Let's call them up. Let's get that guy involved. He's a good addition to the friend group. Yeah, ulterior motives. Promised to invite me to a group outing, only to text me one day, out of the blue, that they already left, and oh well. From mutual friends who went on the outing, they told me that this friend never told them that I was invited. Yeah, they just, like, I don't even know. That just makes my blood boil. In 8th grade, after I switched schools, a friend of mine called me one night and told me a kid I wanted to be friends with had passed away. 3 months later, I visit the graduation ceremony and find out he lied to me and that kid was still alive. Literally? Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Like, that's so weird. I don't get why you would. 8th grade was weird. I was bullied in the 8th grade, like, hardcore. So I know the kids are just brutal and weird, especially in middle school. But yeah, I don't get why you would lie about that. My best friend since middle school got me knocked unconscious after starting a confrontation with a large group of guys. I mean, I'm assuming that you're a dude and they're also a dude. That's like, I get, like, the boys stick together. Like, Josh has that mentality with his friend group, like, boys stick together. Even if it's stupid and you get in a stupid fight, like, you gotta stand up for your boy. But, like, also, yeah, going unconscious for something stupid, Proceeded to tell everyone we worked with that I had started it. A few weeks later, I'd returned from a holiday to my home country, and he had moved one of his friends into my room at the place we were renting. Never talked to him again. Yeah, you shouldn't. Sounds like he's, irresponsible, dumb, and the worst. I offered to pay everything and even pay for her time off work for my best friend to come to my wedding, but she didn't. Oh, that sucks. It's your wedding. What the heck? Even if I freaking would have gotten fired for going, I would have still gone. It was a really small backyard wedding, and I didn't have any bridesmaids, nor did I want anyone to spend money getting dresses. I just wanted her to come. The excuse she gave was work, and so I understood, but then later found out she lied and had planned a trip with her other friends. I still don't know why she didn't want to come. We were friends for over 10 years, and although it wasn't the first time she had hurt me, it was the last. I think that for her, it was, I don't even know, I don't want to, like, try and go with a motive. Honestly, that actually just sucks. Like, what the heck? That's not your friend. I had a very close friend in high school. She moved to Alabama for uni after we graduated, but we kept close. When she came back, we didn't talk much, but I still considered her a close friend. We went out for coffee about 2 years ago. She kept asking me about my life and my goals, and I said I was happy where I am. I coach gymnastics, and my boyfriend and I will eventually take over his family farm and start our own family. Oh, that's so cute. She texted me 2 days later and said, hey, so my entrepreneur friend is hosting a workshop. Do you want me to sign you up? I said no, but thanks for the offer. She then texted me. So clearly we are at 2 different points in our lives. You have no goals or ambitions, and I don't want that kind of negativity in my life. I wish you the best. And I never spoke to her again. Clearly she doesn't know how hard it is to run a farm and how, like, you are a business owner. And on top of that, you have to consider things like the welfare of all the animals, the ever-changing economy, the need of people to want things immediately, like buying things in the U.S. versus things outside of the U.S., exports, imports, and then the addition of, like, the laws with the FDA and the laws regarding, like, welfare and things like that. Just, I could go on and on. Clearly, I was an agriculture major in college, but yeah, even if that wasn't considered an entrepreneurial position that you'll be doing one day, she shouldn't tell you that you're not in the same point in life because you want different things than her. Right? Right. This is currently happening. I had a stroke in 2020. I'm young, 31, and then found out that my kidneys were failing shortly after. I know it's a pandemic, but not one of my friends have even texted me to check on me or asked my husband, who they're all also friends with. That's horrible. I hate that. I'm so sorry. Literally everyone cut me off when I got sick. Can't drink, not friends anymore. Yeah, we call that fair weather friends, and they're the worst. That is something that you kind of have to like suss out, because some people will be friend shaped but not be friend. They just be someone you can go out to the bars with. So you just kind of have to suss it out, but it sucks. Lied about me at our government job, where I was investigated by the AG and ultimately caused me to leave a job and a boss I loved. What? I need more context. I need more information about this. She quit when we found out it was her who lied, as she knew my boss would can her pretty much immediately. Oh, and I'm the one who got her hired. Edited because I forgot to add the best part of all. I was 1 week postpartum on maternity leave when she decided it was the appropriate time to do all this. Talk about some PPD. It was rough. That's horrible. Like, someone said, how do people just wake up one day and decide to do stuff like this? That's what I'm saying. Like, whether you were besties, whether you were casual friends, whether you were strangers, like, why would you wake up and be like, this new mother, I'm gonna ruin her life? People do crazy things. Going over to their house to hang out and find around 10 of my missing Xbox games in a loose stack of discs in his living room. Yeah. Arriving late to a friend's birthday party a few years ago, the birthday boy introduced me as, quote unquote, the guy I was telling you all about. Cool dude, but I wouldn't trust him with my wallet. He was drunk and it wasn't a joke. That's not okay. I had a girlfriend break up with me and tell me how my roommate would send her special pics, call her on weekends, drunk dial her, and try to get her to do the thing with him. These are the ones that came to mind right now. Edit. This blew up. The one about going over to his house occurred when I was like 12. I definitely took them all back, but remember, some were so scratched they were unplayable. The one with the birthday party was a few years ago, but it still bothers him. He said, I don't steal and your wallets are safe with me. LOL. Third is, she told me that stuff after they broke up because she wanted to hurt my feelings. My roomie was a person who really enjoyed the powdered sugar. That behavior seemed like something that he could definitely do, but by that time he was already his ex-roommate. After 25 years of friendship, I announced to my best friend that I was moving to the city she was in. I had a great job opportunity and I felt like it was an awesome time to make a big life change. I was so excited to tell her I could hardly wait. She flatly replied with, cool. And when I asked her what parts of town I would like to live at, she stated, I can't help you. You should just figure it out when you get here. What? We never had a fight, had been close for our entire adult lives, and I continually helped her in all aspects of her life without hesitation. To this day, I cannot tell you why she started treating me this way. Long story short, we live in the same city and haven't seen each other in 6 years, and I'm quite sure we live minutes away from each other. I will probably never know what happened. Those are the things that I'm talking about, like, where there's no closure whatsoever. That just, like, sucks. Invited me to her wedding as a gesture of reconciliation, then uninvited me when I RSVP'd, or in other words, responded to said invitation. That's a little weird. Also, another friend took me out to lunch and let me cry to her after I broke up with my ex. She said she had to go to her mom's for a while and she'd be back that evening with treats in a red box. She ended up getting with my ex. Okay, that's the worst. Edit, as much as I would love to respond to you all, it's impossible, but I thank you for your kind words and especially the people who have shared their own experiences. Obviously, it was a horrible thing to realize my close friend sleeping with my ex, but had I not found out, I probably would have stayed with him much longer and endured his several red flags displayed early on in the relationship. Looking back now, I take this experience as a warning sign. I also hope that she has since learned to treat people better and that my ex is leading a healthier lifestyle than he was when we were together. Okay, so you're actually a saint? Good to know. Friend found out I had cancer. She took me out to eat. She then took me to a MLM presentation. Girl, what? That's insane. That's insane. Like, huh? Someone said, was she trying to get to cure your cancer with essential oils? That probably, the people who believe in essential oils believe in essential oils. Sorry if that's you, but no, that's not appropriate. I'm so sorry to say that you should not be pushing that on someone who just found out they have cancer or any sort of major disease or any disease at all. Just saying. It was my 17th birthday. I'd invited two of my best friends to stay the night. I waited for hours and finally got a text saying that they got in trouble. They were twins and couldn't stay the night. About an hour later, they were tagged in pictures. They were at another girl's house. I confronted them the next day, and they stuck with their lie and said their mom wouldn't drive them because they were in trouble, so they walked to this other girl's house. My mom asked their mom because she knew how hurt I was. She didn't even know about my birthday, and they weren't in trouble. I stopped hanging out with them, learned a few months later that one of them had decided she didn't like me because her 20-year-old crush, another friend's brother, had said it was a shame I was a minor because he thought I was cute. Okay, ew. Edited to add the 20-year-old didn't know I was 17 at first. They have another sister who was born about a year after him. He thought I was the 19-year-old's friend and asked if I was single. My friend told him I was 17. He never once came off as creepy. He was always very nice and respectful, never hit on me or made me feel uncomfortable. That's a very high school reason to end a friendship. That is for sure. I take back the ooze, I guess, because he didn't know. But now that he knows, he stopped. So we're good. That was a close one, bestie. But that is where I'm going to end it today. Let me know your crazy friendship endings down below. And hopefully your friendships are nothing like this and you are friends forever with all of your besties. I love you guys so much. I upload every single Sunday. And I will be back next Sunday with a whole new podcast episode. Bye guys. Love you.